Yes, 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 yes. Hello, and welcome to the best football show. I'm Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL across all social media platforms. Got a video right now on Instagram on Jalen Phillips of the Eagles blowing up. Over 500,000 people watched here since posted it yesterday. Anyways, you can find me on all the platforms. You can find the best football show by downloading a free Odyssey app and then finding the best football show, liking it, subscribing to it, following us. We're here every Tuesday and Wednesday. And Wednesdays, we call it Wisdom Wednesday. So by this time, I have studied every one but one game. I still have one game left. And I don't even want to say what it is. It's been a long week because of travel issues on Sunday. So it's a little late getting started, but I still have one game left to study and watch, and I will get to that one. There were 14 games this week, so I have watched all 13. And from that, this is what I surmise. I did the Patriots and the Buccaneers on Sunday. I was in Tampa, and I saw and talked with Drake May and talked with Mike Vrabel before the game. And I will say this. The blueprint for how to turn a franchise around, not just turn it around, but sustain excellence, never changes. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's Johnny Unitas, if it's Joe Namath, if it's Terry Bradshaw. The formula never changes. Here's what the Patriots have done. They identified the franchise quarterback by drafting Drake May and giving him a chance to play last year. They changed head coach, general managers, the whole staff. Okay? Different way of doing things. Vrabel brought his guys, Doug Marrone, coaching the offense line, Josh McDaniels running the offense, coaching the quarterback, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just examine what they have done in one off season to help Drake May. Last week, the best running back on the field in that game was Travion Henderson. With the second pick, they drafted himself an explosive running back. The first time Travion Henderson touched the ball this year in a preseason game, he went 98 yards to the house. He is an explosive back, too. The two longest runs by the Patriots this year were touchdowns in the fourth quarter by Travion Henderson. And the two longest runs that the Buccaneers have surrendered all year were by Travion Henderson. They drafted Will Campbell. They drafted Jared Wilson, the left side of their offense line. I believe both those players have started all 10 games. Both players have started the 10 games. They brought in Stephon Diggs. Diggs caught a touchdown pass with no time left on the clock at the end of the first half on 4th and 1. And go watch it. It's on my social media. It is a toe tap drag. It's a great throw. They went for it because they trust the quarterback and the receiver. And they gave him a chance. Instead of going to the locker room down 10-7 or tied at 10-10, they went to the locker room up 14-10. They scored in the opening drive of the third quarter. Drake May made great plays. And then they have given different guys an opportunity now to really excel. They brought in Morgan Moses to be the right tackle. They have a new center. They brought in a fullback. They're a two-back system. They go to a jumbo package when they want to run the ball. And then they have a top 5 defense. Right? And they added Milton Williams and Harold Landry and La'Kavon Chason and, a veteran middle linebacker that is all over the field. I mean, they got themselves a defense that can get the ball back to the offense. That's the formula. If you're the Giants, okay, Jackson Dart, I believe in him. They need to surround Jackson Dart with a whole lot better. Now, look, they lost Malik Neighbors. They lost, a promising young running back. They still didn't do enough, all right, all the way around. So whether you're New Orleans right now or Cleveland, where you're one of these teams that nobody's talking about already, the beginning of November, just go watch the Patriots. If you're thinking about you're the New York Giants and you're thinking about what you're going to do with your next head coach, sometimes you go get a coach that knows how to coach, like Mike Vrabel, and get yourself Elliott Wolf and go to bat. Figure out how to do things. All right, that's that. The next thing is this league is now becoming a tight end driven league. And I was reminded by this by watching the Rams game last weekend against San Francisco. In that game, Davis Allen scored a touchdown and Colby Parkinson scored a touchdown. They're two tight ends. They play four tight ends. Davis Allen scored a touchdown out of a tight end bunch formation. Tyler Higbee, Davis Allen, Colby Parkinson. And they used Parkinson to seal the edge so that Stafford could get out wide in the pocket. And they let Higbee and Davis Allen run a two-man route. Stafford got the ball to Davis Allen for a touchdown. They used three tight ends in the run game. Davis Allen could be a lead back, like a fullback, an F-back. He could line up anywhere. They play and dress four tight ends. Late in the game, it's a 28-20 game. Niners getting back in the game, right? Just cut the lead, 28-20. Late third quarter, here comes Terrence Ferguson, their second-round pick out of Oregon. Across the formation, gets matched up with an outside linebacker, destroys him. Stafford gets it to him, 36-yard gain. Next thing you know, they're scoring in a couple of plays. If you go around the league, you look at teams that are doing jumbo packages. Look at the Eagles. They play Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Cameron Latu, and they use Fred Johnson as a third tackle, extra tight end. You look at the Ravens. You look at Charlie Kolar and Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, and Patrick Ricard. They're basically a four tight end system. You look at, and on the other end of the spectrum, look at how anemic the Packers offense was without Tucker Kraft. If you look at the best offenses in football right now, look at how they are using tight ends. It used to be, honestly, like as early as 3-4 years ago, this was an 11 package. This was an 11 personnel team, a league. It was one back, one tight end, three wide receivers. And in Buffalo's cases, before they drafted Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes and some of these guys, Dalton Kincaid, they were four wide receivers, four wide. It was a Big 12 offense. You're not winning. You're not protecting your quarterback. You're not running the ball effectively. Like, you need tight ends. And I could go through the list. You look at Seattle, A.J. Barner, Callerup, the rookie, Elijah Aurora, Robbie Oots. Like, you look at what they're doing and how they use them. Tight ends, fullbacks, extra tackles. It's a jumbo package, jumbo tight end, 3-4 tight end league right now. Just watch. Look at these offenses. Okay. And and you look at teams. The Patriots run the ball more than they throw it. The Eagles run it more than they throw it. You just look at that trend started last year. Detroit ran it more than they threw it. Seattle wants to run it more than they throw it. Like, it's a trend with winning teams. All right. We've got a monster matchup on Sunday. The Broncos trying to take a 3.5 team lead on Kansas City. The 8-2 Broncos and the 5-4 Chiefs. Chiefs coming off their bye week. I saw Patrick Mahomes back at his alma mater last weekend in Lubbock, Texas Tech, BYU. Was announcing that game for Elite Sports Media, national radio. And it just so happened that the Chiefs' bye week timed up with the biggest game Texas Tech has played. Andy Reid, just go look at the stats. 24, 25 years now of coaching and what he has done after a bye. His record is unreal. But Denver, I'm mentioning this game because of what Denver's defensive line is doing and what defensive lines that are deep and talented are doing in this league. All right, so you look at Denver. They lead the league with 46 sacks. But what they did to Geno Smith. Geno Smith finished the game on one leg. It's not just that they're 8 deep. It's not just that they've got elite rushers. They also have a great defensive coordinator in Vance Joseph. So you look at Denver and Benito and Cooper and Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers and Malcolm Roach. And, you just go on and on and on. Ellis, like, they're 8 deep. You look at what the Eagles just did, the trade deadline. They just picked up Jalen Phillips for a third-round pick. Jalen Phillips was a mid-first-round pick. He's had injuries. Yes, he has. At UCLA, with the Dolphins, major injuries. But he was the best defensive player on the field Monday night. I mean, the guy he's long, he's big. He can play linebacker. He can rush the passer. He can stuff the run. And then you get Nolan Smith back. all right? And you sign Brandon Graham, and suddenly the Eagles, you go through Moro Ojomo, and, you look at, obviously Jalen Carter and, Jordan Davis. You just look at what they have. Jahad Campbell, the rookie, playing outside linebacker and on the defensive line. Like, they literally are 8 deep right now. You look at what Seattle is doing, with what Tank Lawrence is doing and what the emergency of Byron Murphy Jr., or just Byron Murphy, and Jerron Reed and Big Cat Williams and all the guys that they have. Nwosu. You have got to put your resources into your defensive line. And, look, if you look at the Eagles, you look at Jalen Phillips, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, Jahad Campbell. I mean, there's 6 first-round draft picks. 6. That's not to mention, Moro Jomo and some of the other guys that rotate in there. 6. You can't put enough resources into your defensive line. When Patrick Mahomes went to Buffalo and got beat the other day, he got hit 15 times. A lot of them by Joey Bosa and Gregory Rousseau. Like, when you beat Mahomes, you get to Mahomes and you affect Mahomes. That's how you beat him. Lastly, 2 other things. One, the Baltimore Ravens are showing us that you can start the season 1-5. And for most teams, and I've played on a 1-5 team, and we won 8 of our last 10, and we almost made the playoffs in 1990 or 91 in Indianapolis. I forget exactly which year it was. We almost made the playoffs. Maybe it was 89. But anyways, we started 1-5, and it's hard. It takes a lot of energy to come out of that crypt. You got to have a lot of things go right. You got to put a win streak together. The Ravens have won 3 in a row, and they have given up fewer than 20 points in 20 straight games. And you watch the emergence of Mike Green, the talent of Kyle Hamilton, the side-to-sideline ability of Roquan Smith, the coverage ability of Wiggins, the addition of Alohi Gilman, of Malachi Starks. I mean, they have fixed things defensively, and then offensively they're becoming efficient. And Lamar is starting to play like MVP Lamar, back healthy. So they've got 2 games left with Pittsburgh. Probably going to decide the division. They got some, Sisters of the Poor coming up. But Baltimore can come out of this. And it's really a signal to all teams that if you have the right coach, you have the right quarterback, you have proven systems about how to practice, how to play, winning culture, even at 1-5, you can still be relevant and you can still start thinking playoffs. And there's a lot of football to be played. They're 4-5 right now. They got 8 games left. They go 6-2 down the stretch. They're still 10-7. Probably gets them in the playoffs. They go 7-1. They win the division. 10-7 might win the division the way Aaron Rodgers is playing. Baltimore is in it. Lastly, today, I would like to pay my respects to our former commissioner, Paul Tagliabue. Paul Tagliabue took over for Pete Rozelle. And Pete Rozelle was enormous in the development of this league. The television and the prominence of television came in under Pete Rozelle. And the growth of the game came under. So Paul Tagliabue took over for a very successful commissioner. And what did he do? I mean, we got expansion franchises, Carolina, Seattle. We saw Baltimore, become a team after they had left. You go to Indianapolis, they got a team back there. So the expansion of the league was real, 32 teams under him. But really, he came in 1989. By 1991, he started a league called NFL Europe. And they had 6 teams in Europe. And they were playing games in Europe and back in the States. And that league went on for a couple of years. They shut down. They reopened in 1995. And I started broadcasting games in Europe in 1997 and did for 11 years until it finished in 2007. And when we think about the growth of this game internationally, it all started with Paul Tagliabue. He told me one time, he goes, look, you want to start any enterprise. You want to start, a soccer program. You want to, grow tennis. He studied all these different professional sports leagues and said it would take 20 years. 20 years to build the culture, cultivate a new following, grow the game properly, set up your tent, all those things. He believed in that. And here we are. We're playing the 7th international game this year in Madrid this weekend with Miami and Washington. First game ever in Madrid. We just played a game in Berlin, Germany for the first time. We are now playing these games internationally, and it will continue to grow. When I broadcasted the final game in NFL Europe's history, the World Bowl in 2007, Paul Tagliabue was there. And it was in Frankfurt, Germany. And it was on the NFL Network. And I did the game with Bob Papa. And they had over 50,000 people in Frankfurt at Waldstadion in Germany. And it was electric, just absolutely electric. And honestly, we took a great deal of pride in broadcasting those games for Fox and NFL Network back in the day. All of us. I mean, Troy Aikman went over there, and Rich Russo, who was the director for Tom Brady's games. I mean, let's just go through the list of personnel people and coaches that coached over there, and people that are basically broadcasting football for various networks. We all got our start over there. And so Kirk Menefee was my teammate and roommate over in Europe. And we would see the interest that Paul Tagliabue had. He would come to these World Bowls. He would come over for some big games. Like, his presence was immeasurable. And he had his pulse on this thing. He loved it. I remember came to a World Bowl one time when we did one game in Scotland. And he had his, he promised to wear a kilt. And Gene Upshaw was there. And, the union was behind it. And that was all the vision of Paul Tagliabue, amongst great other things that he did under his watch. I just knew firsthand, seeing it firsthand, the growth of the game internationally under the watch of Paul Tagliabue. For that, we're always going to be grateful. But, for the respect of what he was and who he was in the growth of this game, we would not be where we are today without the late, great commissioner of Paul Tagliabue. So I just wanted to pay my respects here on the Best Football Show. Look forward to joining you here tomorrow, everybody, as we kind of look ahead to Week 11 in the National Football League.